What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 24 picks correct, which is absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 24 right, which is a 97% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 97% win rate. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 97% win rate and get 24 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $2,700 just yesterday, and another member who won $750 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout out to Justin Lott, who said I won 585 yesterday, so congratulations and shouts out to him. Shouts out to Ghost123B2B, who said or spammed up the 100 emojis, so shouts out to him as well. If you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. I also do want to mention, guys, make sure to be a little bit more extra careful with these picks due to the fact that it is really near the end of the season. So there's a lot of different sort of strategies that a lot of the different teams are playing that we may not know of and that we can see with the numbers. So definitely be a little bit more extra careful until the playoffs start. Play it safe. That's how I'm also playing it as well. So getting into the first pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Kyle Filipowski. So as you all know, Kyle Filipowski, great player for none other than the Utah Jazz. And this one is for points, rebounds, and assists, or PRA, for 27.5. And this one actually is for less. Now when we look at, Kyle Filipowski, now looking at the last 5 games, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking more in depth when it comes to this one, we actually do see when it comes to actually Kyle Filipowski, on March 29th, they played against Denver Nuggets where he had a 32 PRA, then faced off against Charlotte Hornets on April 1st where he had a 29 PRA there. After that, April 3rd against Houston Rockets had an 18 PRA, then 19 PRA against Indiana Pacers on April 5th. Moving on from there, we had an April 7th game. Atlanta Hawks was their matchup, and he had a 20 PRA there. So you have seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, but more importantly, what we also did see is that when it comes to Kyle Filipowski, he also has an average over the last 5 games of only 23.6. So significantly below this line, which is what we like to see. Now, when we look at the next matchup that they do face off against, Kyle Filipowski and the Utah Jazz face off against the Portland Trail Blazers. So it is going to be an interesting game in this one. Now, when we look at both of these teams, starting off with the Utah Jazz, we do see Utah Jazz do actually rank, 15th in the Western Conference with a record of 16-63. So as you all know, Jazz have had a pretty poor season, but on top of that, not only have they ranked really poorly, but on top of that, they are going to continue to tank and tank as much as possible in order to, set themselves up for a higher draft pick. Now, when it comes to their record so far, like I mentioned, 16-63, it is probably pretty much solidified that they do have the last spot in the actual Western Conference. So yes, they will probably lose the majority and the rest of the season. However, they aren't needing to forcefully tank due to the fact that they are definitely clear enough to get that highest chance of getting a high draft pick. So they are going to pretty much be lost. It is almost certain. And looking at the Portland Trail Blazers, Portland are in a little bit of a different situation because Portland could still potentially make the play-ins and land in that 10th spot. Now, obviously, it is going to take them to win pretty much every single game from here on out, and also for the Mavericks and Kings to also lose every game from here on out. So it is a slim chance, but still somewhat possible. Now, when it comes to Portland, we aren't really expecting them to go, absolutely hard to try to make the play-ins. I don't think that's their mission. I think they are looking to get, a draft pick or a high draft pick if possible. But overall, we still do very much like, the situation here, because we think both of these teams are still going to play pretty hard coming into this game. Now, looking at Portland Trailblazers, starting off with points allowed, we do see that the Portland Trailblazers, obviously, and I do have to mention as well, you do want to look at more of the recent sort of games, due to the fact that a lot of these teams are changing their sort of strategy, especially later on in the season, due to where, these certain teams are. But Portland Trailblazers have actually done a fantastic job, because over the last 10 games, we've actually seen them rank 13th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 12th in assists allowed, and on top of that, moving on into rebounds allowed, we also see them rank 15th. So they rank pretty well, nothing too major, but they still do rank very well, and well enough to see someone like Kyle Filipowski go on the under in this one. Portland have done a fantastic job as of lately. They have changed their strategy, but what we have noticed is that their defense has just improved, and we definitely see that playing on into this next game as well. Like we mentioned before, both these teams have pretty much solidified where they are. They don't really need to tank as much as they did earlier on, but we definitely still do see, these teams getting some pretty decent usage rate, but definitely not enough for Kyle to go on the over, and that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like Kyle Filipowski as well, the Utah Jazz and Portland Trailblazers matchup, Utah Jazz do run Kyle as a center, and he does play the center position, and Portland actually do a fantastic job at actually, restricting the center position from points, rebounds, and assists. So we definitely see that happening in this game as well, especially for someone like Kyle Filipowski. Now, looking at Kyle over his last games against Portland Trailblazers, now it is a little bit interesting to see. We actually do see that they face off against each other, somewhat recently. They played each other on the 26th of December, and that was our first matchup, and he only had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 12 assists, so only a total of a 12 PRA, so very low there. Now, in the second game that they did play, which was, a little bit later on the 24th of February, he did do a pretty decent job, having 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists, so he did go over on that line, but like we always mention, this is a different time in the season, and we definitely see, Portland, especially with them increasing their defense, it may have a huge effect in this game, especially for someone like Kyle. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. So Kyle Filipowski, 27.5 points, rebs, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Getting to the next pick, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker, and this one's a fantastic one because this one is for 38.5 PRA, or points, rebounds, and assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Devin Booker, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, so he has done a fantastic job for his team. But when we look at those games, March 31st faced off against Houston Rockets, where he had a 34 PRA, then faced off on April 2nd against Milwaukee Bucks, where he had a 53 PRA, then 48 PRA against Boston Celtics on April 5, then a 47 PRA against New York Knicks on April 7th, and then April 9th, Golden State Warriors had a 28 PRA. So we have actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. Now his average over the last 5 is 42. However, when it comes to Phoenix Suns, the next matchup that you do face off against is none other than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, as you all know, Oklahoma City Thunder are a great team. Now, when we start first looking at actually none other than the actual, Phoenix Suns, we do see Phoenix Suns do actually rank 11th in the Western Conference. Now, they do have a record of 35-44, so still in somewhat of a grasp of being able to make the play-ins. Now, they do pretty much need to win every single game possible, and on top of that, when it comes to the Mavericks, who are just above them, they need to lose every single game possible, and there may be a chance. So it is very slim, I do have to say, but anything is still possible. You want to ride it out until the end. I think Devin Booker is going to try to play his hardest in the rest of this Suns team. Now, looking at the Thunder on the other side, Thunder in a little bit of a different situation because they have actually clinched the whole conference with a record of 65-14. And on top of that, they also have done a proper job because, they are first in the Western Conference. And on top of that, when we look at their record, they're actually first in the whole league in general. So Thunder have been on an absolute dominant streak. Even though they have already clinched a playoff spot a week ago, they are still playing very, very hard. And it's definitely noticeable when you look at their defense. Even in the last 10 games, you see they still rank 10th when it comes to points allowed, 7th when it comes to assists allowed, and rebounds allowed, they rank 9th. So they still pretty much rank in the top 10 in all three categories, even in the last 10 games. And it is kind of crazy to see because obviously Thunder have already clinched the playoff and also the top spot. So they don't really need to be playing their stars, but they continue to do and continue to play hard. So we are expecting still that same mentality coming into this next one. We are expecting them to play very, very hard. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Although Devin Booker is a great player, Oklahoma City Thunder's defense has just honestly been so great this whole season, and they also do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position. So we definitely see that affecting someone like Devin Booker greatly, which is why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at Devin Booker as well, we also do see that when we look at his matchups against Thunder this season, we actually saw them play each other on the 15th last year, and he actually had 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. So he only had a 20 PRA in that matchup, so significantly below his line. And then on top of that, the next matchup, they played each other on the 5th of February. We had 19 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, so a total of a 24 PRA. So very, very low there as well. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely see him going on the under due to the fact that OKC in general has done a great job against guards, and even the times that they have faced off against each other, we have seen him do or pretty much struggle against Oklahoma City Thunder, and we definitely see that happening again here. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. So keep an eye out for Devin Booker and in this matchup. So Devin Booker, 38.5 points, reps, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Nikola Jokic. So Nikola Jokic, great player, as we all know. And this one is for points for 31.5. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Nikola Jokic, as we all know, Jokic has gone on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at Nikola Jokic, we have seen March 27th faced off against Milwaukee. He had a 39 points there, then 27 against Utah on March 29th. April 2nd, faced off against Timberwolves and had 61 in that game, then 33 against Warriors on April 5th, and then April 7th against Indiana, 41 points there. So when we see that, obviously, Jokic has had a great scoring night over the last couple of games. His average over the last 5 is 40.2. However, they do face off against the Sacramento Kings coming into this next matchup. Now, looking at both of these teams, starting off with the Nuggets do have a record of 47-32 and rank 5th in the Western Conference. Now, although that does sound good, what you also need to realize is that every single team from the 3rd spot all the way to the 8th spot are only 1 to 2 wins away from each other. And because that is such a big thing, is that 1 loss, 1 win can really get you from a playoff position, which is what Nuggets are right now, to a play-in position. So it is a very tight race between all these teams, and a lot of them are definitely fighting. Now, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Timberwolves are all the teams fighting for those spots. So anything can really happen. Obviously, they do want to stay out of the play-ins if you can guarantee yourself a playoff spot. Not only do you rest your players, but you've also guaranteed yourself a spot, and you don't run the risk of being out of the playoffs. So it is very interesting to see. When it also comes to the Denver Nuggets so far, as we all know, they did actually end up losing Coach Malone. So it is a bit of a interesting situation, and it may be very different coming into this next game. Now, looking at the Sacramento Kings do rank 9th in the Western Conference with a record of 39-40. Now, this is still a very important game for the Sacramento Kings because the Kings need this win in order to stay in the play-ins. Like I mentioned before, Suns are trailing, so are the Trailblazers. Now, in order for them to actually get knocked out, it would require pretty much a miracle to happen. but there is still a possibility. Anything can really happen, and that's why a lot of these teams are fighting until the end. And we definitely see that happening with the Sacramento Kings coming into this one. Now, looking at this matchup, obviously looking at Kings, we do see that Sacramento Kings, surprisingly, over the last 10 games, ranked 12th when it comes to points allowed. They've actually done a very, very good job at restricting points, and we definitely see that continuing on into this next game, no doubt about it. Now, looking at someone like Nikola Jokic, what we have seen, yes, he has had a great usage rate as of recent, but Sacramento Kings should definitely change all that. Kings also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position, and although Jokic has had a hot streak, the hot streak may need to end in this next matchup. And especially with the whole Malone situation, we are expecting maybe a very, very different usage rate and different play of style that we are usually used to, especially, for someone like Jokic coming into this game. Now, looking at Jokic, the last time that he has played against, the actual Sacramento Kings, there has been some recent occasions. Now, looking at some of those games, we saw that on the 16th of December, we saw them play and he only had 20 points in that matchup, so he was under in that line. They played each other again on 23rd of January, where he had 35 points, so he did make it on the over there, but then played again on the 5th of March, so the most recent one, and he only had 22 points in that matchup as well. So you definitely do see Jokic has gone on the under in 2 out of those 3 games against Sacramento, and that is another telltale sign to us on why we are liking the under for a situation like this, especially for someone like Jokic. Now, when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have a favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Nikola Jokic, 31.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines, so here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than PJ Washington. So as you all know, PJ Washington, fantastic player for the Dallas Mavericks, and so far this season he has been averaging 14.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, while also shooting 45.1% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job in all 3 categories. And when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, as we all know, they have had a little bit of a mix-up in their latest season as losing Luka Doncic. And now in this next matchup, they do face off against the Los Angeles Lakers, which is kind of ironic here. Now, when we look at both of these teams, obviously the Mavericks and the Lakers and the Western Conference in general, it's definitely a close battle. Now, when we look at the Dallas Mavericks, first of all, we do see that they rank 10th in the Western Conference with a record of 38-41. So they have done a fantastic job there. Now, when it comes to the Mavericks, they definitely want to continue to win and try to finish off the season strong, as they don't want to get knocked out in the play-ins. As you all know, when it comes to the Western Conference, the teams from 3rd all the way to 10th haven't actually been clinched just yet. Compared to the Eastern Conference, where a lot of the positions have already been clinched, the Western Conference has just been such a tight race, anything can really happen. So it is definitely going to be a close race there, so the Mavericks do want to make sure they win this game in order to solidify their spot in a play-in position. So it is definitely important for them coming into this matchup. Now, looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, we also see a very, very similar situation in a sense that, these games really do matter. The Los Angeles Lakers currently ranked 3rd in the Western Conference, which is great. But what you also need to look at is that when it comes to the Lakers, they do actually have a record of 48-31. And the team that is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th all are only 1 game behind. And the team that is 8th is actually only 2 games behind, which is Timberwolves. So Clippers, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Timberwolves are very, very close at catching up to the Lakers. So one loss will definitely take a huge blow to the Lakers. So they must definitely win this game if they want to remain in that 3rd spot position. A big reason being is that they don't want to end up in the bottom half of that table due to the fact that they will actually end up in a play-in situation. So for all these teams, pretty much from 3rd all the way to 8th, it is very, very important that they continue to win. And I think that's why Lakers coming into this matchup, they are definitely going to give it all that they can. Now, looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, as we all know, when we look at the Lakers and Mavericks matchup, it is definitely going to be an interesting time. But as we all know as well, it is going to be a very intense game due to the fact that both of these teams really want to win. Now, looking at points allowed for the Los Angeles Lakers, we actually do see them rank 23rd when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we also do see that the Lakers rank pretty low at 25th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see the Lakers rank 14th. So they rank pretty low in all three categories, mid-tier a little bit in that rebound, but we definitely do like the over for someone like PJ Washington here. A big reason being is that when it comes to PJ Washington, he does have a decent usage rate in all three departments. Now, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and rebounds. However, I think with assists, we may not actually even see a line come out for him, but I think points and rebounds is definitely where you want to focus on. But for someone like PJ Washington, we definitely see him going on the over due to the fact that Mavericks are missing quite a lot of players, and on top of that, the injuries, on top of Luka Doncic leaving this team, PJ Washington's usage rate has definitely increased just slightly. Now, it's nothing too crazy. PJ Washington still plays more of that role-playing type role, but it is definitely going to be, a bit of a problem for the Lakers, as I do believe PJ is going to have a good usage rate coming into this matchup. When we look at Lakers, they also do a pretty poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the power forward position. So we definitely see someone like PJ Washington being able to take advantage of this and going on the over in this one. Now, looking at some of his most recent games so far, he has been playing really, really decent. He has coming off a game having 12 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds there. Now, obviously, he has first against some pretty tough teams as of lately. But when you look at some easier matchups like Brooklyn Nets, we saw him have 16 points, which is great to see, 5 assists and also 2 rebounds. So was able to go on the over in 2 out of his 3 averages. And then another matchup against Chicago, he had 19 points, 7 rebounds, and also 2 assists there. So, his consistency to his usage rate remains very, very good. We think in this matchup, we should see it go on the over, as Lakers, even with Luka Doncic added to the team, they are a pretty fast-paced team, so we are expecting a lot of volume from PJ Washington coming into this game. So I definitely would focus a little bit more on points and rebounds, as I don't really expect an assist line to come out, but there's still a lot of value in all three categories to see someone like PJ go on the over in this one. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Aaron Gordon. So Aaron Gordon from the Denver Nuggets has done a fantastic job, averaging 14.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists, while also shooting 52.8% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for the actual Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets have been in a very, very interesting situation. Now, as you all know, we all know that Denver Nuggets have recently let go of Coach Malone. It was a bit of an interesting sort of tactic, especially this close to the playoffs. But when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, they are facing off against the Sacramento Kings coming into this game. Now, similar to what we just mentioned with the last matchup, this is a very important game for both of these teams. Now, looking at Nuggets have a record of 47-32. They currently rank 5th in the Western Conference, which I think is great. But on top of that, if they end up losing 1 or 2 games, they could end up in a play-in situation. So they definitely need to win these last couple of games, just like these other Western Conference teams. So it is a very, very important game coming into this matchup. Now, looking at a team like Sacramento Kings, they are in somewhat a similar situation. Now, Sacramento Kings do rank 9th actually in the Western Conference. So they are, pretty much in the play-ins for sure. Like, they can't go above the 9th spot, but they can get knocked out if the Suns end up catching up. So they still need to win games in order to remain in the play-ins, but the Kings can't actually get past the 9th spot due to the fact that the next team at the 8th spot has 46 wins, and it's definitely not possible for them to reach that. So they still need to finish off strong. The Suns are creeping up, but the Suns need to remain pretty much winning every single game after this. So the Kings need to still, win this game in order to solidify their spot in the play-ins. Now, when we look at Sacramento Kings, especially when we look at points, rebounds, and assists allowed, we do that Sacramento Kings do rank 20th when it comes to points allowed, 18th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see that the Kings do rank 5th. So very, very interesting there. Now, when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, we do like the over for someone like Aaron Gordon. in the actual points and assist category. Now, looking at his, averages, like we mentioned, 14.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 52.8% field goal percentage. He has done a great job for this Denver Nuggets team. His usage rate does remain pretty decent in all three categories. A little bit lower in assists, but still definitely is an intentional playmaker. And what I mean by that is that Aaron Gordon really does try to find the open man when the opportunities are there. So we definitely still see him, especially against a team like Kings that do allow a lot of assists. We should see him be able to take advantage of that. Now, when we look at also Aaron Gordon over the last couple of games, we definitely have seen him have some pretty big performances. He's coming off a game against Indiana where he didn't play too well, having 5 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. But the game before that, he had 15 points, 8 assists, and also 2 rebounds. So went over on 2 out of the 3 lines. He also had another matchup where he had 30 points, 5 assists, and 8 rebounds, which I thought was fantastic. So went over on all 3 there. So when Aaron Gordon does face off against an easier team, he is able to take advantage of it. And we definitely see that happening coming into this next matchup. No doubt about it. So I would definitely keep an eye out for Aaron Gordon due to the fact that his usage rate should remain pretty consistent. And especially in a matchup like this where Kings are a very fast-paced team and do a fantastic job at speeding up slower paced teams. So Denver Nuggets, we are expecting them to go up to actually Kings pace. We definitely see him going on the over in this one. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jalen Green. So Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets has been doing fantastic, averaging 21.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and also 42.7% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job. He also ranks 25th in points, 89th in actually rebounds, and then 3.5 in actually 3.5 assists, but ranking him 71st in that. So it is very interesting to see there, 104th in field goal percentage as well. So he does rank pretty decently. And when it comes to Jalen Green and the Houston Rockets, they do have themselves an interesting matchup against the LA Clippers. So it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup there. Now, looking at both of these teams, starting off with the Rockets. Rockets are in a little bit of a better position. The Rockets have already, clinched a playoff spot, and they actually do rank second in the Western Conference. So they have clinched their division, which I think is super important. And on top of that, the Rockets just have been playing great. There are only a couple of games left. So, they definitely still want to play hard and play until the end, but they are definitely on a bit of a different side, as they don't need this win as much as some of the other teams in the Western Conference. But still, it is going to be an exciting game. Now, Clippers on the other side, Clippers do rank 4th in actually the Western Conference with a record of 47-32. And like we mentioned with the other picks, the Western Conference is just such a tight race. This is a must-win game for this Clippers team if they want to stay in that playoff position and not end up in the play-in. So it's definitely going to be interesting there. Now, looking at also, the matchup between these two, looking at actually the Clippers, we do see the LA Clippers rank 4th in points allowed. They also rank 9th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. They also do rank first. So the LA Clippers have definitely turned it on quite a bit. They have done a fantastic job there, but where we really do see them shine is definitely due to the fact that Clippers have actually a great defensive matchup, and they tend to really slow down, faster paced teams. And we definitely see that happening here. And that's a very big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely do like the under due to the fact that LA Clippers not only do a great job at slowing down the pace of games, but on top of that, they do a great job against players like Jalen Green, who is a shooting guard, and LA Clippers do a fantastic job at stopping shooting guards. So, we definitely see someone like Jalen Green going on the under in this matchup. On top of that, the Rockets don't really need this win as much as some of these other teams, so we are expecting them to take it just a little bit easier. I definitely still do see them playing, at least some sort of minutes out there, but I don't think the win is as necessary as they think. So we could still see Jalen Green have a little bit more of a different usage rate, and on top of that, maybe get sent off early depending on how the game goes. So, when it comes to the Rockets, they definitely are going to be trying to play conservative due to the fact that the playoffs are just around the corner. They don't want them getting injured, and they want them prepared for the playoffs that is to come around the corner. So, for that reason, we do very much think, Jalen Green will go on the under in this situation here. He has had some big games, do not get me wrong. He is coming off a matchup where he had 21 points, 5 assists, and also 3 rebounds. We actually did go on the under in 2 of those 3 lines. He had another matchup where he had 34 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. So, he did pretty decently there. But he also has other matchups where he had 9 points, 5 assists, and also 9 rebounds. So interesting stat lines here and there, very unpredictable due to the fact that Rockets are closing in on the end of the season. So we should see a different one coming into this matchup. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about James Harden. So James Harden, we just talked about this matchup, but now from the other side, James Harden has been averaging 22.5 points, 5.7 rebounds, 8.6 assists, while also shooting 40.3% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for this LA Clippers team, and he has helped carry this team into a great position. Now, he does rank 21st in points, 63rd in rebounds, 5th in assists, and then 114th in field goal percentage. So he has done a fantastic job there. But when it comes to James Harden and the LA Clippers, they face off against the Rockets like we mentioned, but looking at the Houston Rockets, we see that they rank 5th in points allowed, 2nd in assists allowed, and then 4th in rebounds allowed. So they rank very, very well in all 3 categories. Now, when it comes to someone, like James Harden, we do actually see him going on the under in this one. And a big reason being is for that, due to the fact that when it actually comes to James Harden, although he does have a decent usage rate in all 3 departments, we are expecting Houston Rockets to do a fantastic job at slowing him down as much as they can. So we definitely do like the under for this situation here. I think all 3 categories definitely has a possibility to go in the under. And on top of that, James Harden does play that shooting guard position, sometimes at point guard. And what we have seen time and time again is that Houston Rockets do a fantastic job at actually, slowing down and restricting guards in any other team. So we definitely see that happening, going on the under in this situation here. And for someone like James Harden, a lot of the defensive focus is definitely going to be on him, which I definitely see affecting him in this matchup and affecting it further.